Gear fear and getting IP crushed, the dual problems new players face when trying lethal content. But what if there was a way to beat both issues at once? Zero to Hero playstyle is the most fun way to play Albion, and it is what players call treating the lethal zones like a roguelite game. The general idea is as follows. Start with a cheap build, 4.1 or 5 flat, with cheaper non-artifact items and no special cape. This should set you back no more than 80k. Go out into the mists, through the safe portal, or just run out there, and start doing content and taking fights. Raw silver drops go towards your long-term bank for rebuying those cheap sets into start runs and to pay for some premium. But everything else you loot, including silver bags, goes towards the current run. As you collect enough silver to upgrade pieces of your loadout, either rebuying an upgraded piece or enough rune souls or relics to enchant your current items, you return to town and spend all of that looted silver on upgrading your gear. Just like with a roguelite game, you have the within the run progression that increases your power until you die, as well as meta progression in the form of spec that'll help you from the start of every subsequent run by increasing your power with all items in the set forever. Playing this way has a way of hacking something in your subconscious that helps you conquer that anxiety about gear loss. Since your only real cost is the initial 50 to 80k, it is very unlikely that you end up with less silver than you started. Combine this with the idea that the run ends only when you die, which means that you should already consider your set used and to be lost, regardless of where you are in the run. Even if you make it up to tier 9 or tier 10 equivalent, the true cost of the set, to you, is still less than 100k, but you will have the IP to have a chance in a fight against nearly anyone you see. While Albion has some fun PvE content, it is only really enjoyable in small doses, and the main appeal of the game is that high-stakes full loot PvP. But there are many players that avoid participating in this content because of gear fear and not liking the idea of being IP gapped or IP crunched. But if you treat your solo gameplay like it's a roguelite, you can have fun running high tier gear than you would otherwise feel comfortable doing, and get into fights without ever worrying about going broke, and even end up with more silver than you started. How to get started. Like we said in the first part, you generally start your run out with a 4-1 set. It's pretty cheap, and since tier 4 has all of the item options, you could pick any build. If 50k is still too much for you to be willing to lose without worry, you can take it a step further and start your run out with even cheaper tier 3 gear, and swap to your intended loadout when you make it to tier 4. Also, some items are very expensive, even at 4 flat, namely relic, ava, and mist artifact items, as well as special capes or crystal weapons. If you're a baller and have silver to spare, you can start your runs out with these items. But generally, you can opt for a cheaper alternative for your first set and have item upgrades be one of the things you incorporate into that Zero to Hero build path. For example, a Thetford cape could be a big upgrade, but at the cost of 75k for a 4 flat cape, you could have just bought enough add-up souls to upgrade most if not all of your gear for more power. Generally, a special cape at 4-1 gets added around the same time that you upgrade your other gear pieces to the tier 7 equivalent. A few examples of item substitutions would be a Harvester cap, serving a similar function to a Royal helmet with CC, or a Mage cowl being a budget Purity cowl. At the start of your run, you are at your weakest, and, unless you have close to max spec, you should start with mob camps to help get some loot and upgrades before actively seeking out fights. That being said, the point of the strategy and the game as a whole is to participate in PvP, and if you think you have a chance of winning, you should test your limits and take fights that are offered to you. As you progress through the tiers, you have another roguelite similar option, which is to spend some of that looted silver on buying fame tomes to accelerate your spec gains. In general, you should be shooting for about 50 spec in the gear you are using before going past tier 7. If you're ready to get started now, I'd recommend using a build that is still strong at low IP, like the combo Brawler's Gloves. If you want to see how to play that build, you can click here. Now, get out to those lethal zones and start having the intended gameplay experience.